welcome back. So you hopefully enjoyed that nice photo montage of the cricketers going about their stuff today. And now we are about to see the Diamond Creek second innings. So they are 103 runs behind. In order to save the game, there are how many overs left in the day's play?
Well, we've got 58 overs, so they've got a couple of options of how they can save this game. They can either survive the 58 overs, or they can get over 103 runs and hope that Lower Plenty can't chase them down in this evening.
Yeah, so after the lunch break, it's going to be interesting to look into the maths of exactly what Diamond Creek need to do to prevent a Lower Plenty outright win. But for now, they would probably just be wanting to build up some good momentum into their innings, get some runs on the board, make sure that they're hitting the ball well, and then they'll worry about calculations when they come back.
Exactly right. So we've got Sean Russell on strike here, was the best of the batsmen in the first innings there. He'll be facing McKinnon there, who was near enough pick of the bowls behind Lacey.
So let's just hope that this isn't what happened last time. As comes into bowl. Oh! Bit of an in-swing, comes in and hits him in the breadbasket.
So it's a really important innings here for Diamond Creek there. One of the things that, the disadvantage that they have being in the same grade as the thirds is that they do struggle to impress when it comes to being promoted there. Russell has his opportunity, and he was one that showed a bit in the first innings, bat and ball.
Russell into bowl. Oh, well bowled, in-swinging.
Well played there by Russell, getting it a lot more right than what he did in the first innings. We'll remember he bowled a few short deliveries early on, which were pulled away from Russell. And then once he got it right, he ended up getting the wickets there.
So, into bowl. And well defended there. The ball is certainly swinging into the right-hander, but the batsman is able to reposition himself, so far well played.
A little bit strange that you would have a deep mid-wicket when you're 100 runs in front of the game, but O'Connor sensing that maybe McKinnon will drop one in short that can be pulled away there.
McKinnon into bowl. And left alone. That was the half volley, maybe a bit of a sucker ball, and Russell did not fall for it, he left it alone. Yeah, that's a very strange position to have at the start of a day, at the start of an innings. Right on the fence. It's a long boundary.
McKinnon once more, and this one's pulled from Russell, and it's fielded by the well, we'll say the ankles, or the not so much the hands there.
So certainly the ball is moving pretty much as it moved for their first innings last week. McKinnon's bowling a bit slower than he was. Comes into bowl, and it's pulled, and it beats the gap, a backwards square leg region, and the fielder at short fine leg cannot stop it. It's 4.
This is one of the problems with not having Addison on the fence, is there's the opportunity to get more boundaries than otherwise you would get.
So once again, not having a fine leg fielder on the fence has cost Lower Plenty some runs. It's just strange. It's one thing on a ground that has long boundaries straight, but not a ground where the boundaries are short straight. So just the 4 runs off the over, it is 4-4-0. Okay, so this is the second over of the innings, coming at the childcare centre end.
A little bit of a change from the first innings. We've seen Caldera start off as opposed to Lacey there, so maybe the batting took a little bit more out of Lacey than what we suspected. So he's bowling to a reasonably orthodox field there, 6-3. 2 slips in the gully there, being set by O'Connor.
Okay, Caldera into bowl. And short wide, left alone. The weather has pretty much stayed the same as it did this morning. There's a bit more clouds, a little bit of white ether hanging around. No real big clouds except for one off in the deep, but mostly just white mist. Caldera into bowl. And it's very...
well...
And it's a no ball.
Not surprising there, even with Farah being quite a tall batsman there. Still no chance of him being able to reach that one unless he took up tennis.
Yes. For this batsman, there is no fielder on the deep, and so it's but finally he's on the fence.
So Caldera in once more. Farah will cut this one and it'll get past Gully, so we race away towards the players area and that will get to the boundary. So the first boundary from Farah.
Very well played. Just a classic late cut. Got himself into position, moved his wrists right at the right moment, and able to pierce the gap. Just great shot.
So it's important here for Caldera to get it right there. Being trusted with the new ball as opposed to Lacey, so needs to make sure he finds his length in particular there. Farah is a little bit prone to the full delivery early on.
Ooh. Oh. I think that was more. Just a bumbling wicketkeeper rather than anything else.
Didn't see anything too vicious with the delivery there. That's another example there of making sure that you get yourself low and the fingers high when you are taking them like that. Your other option is again to give the give over your left shot, but that one I think with more a couple of fingers up, unfortunately not taken cleanly.
Caldera into bowl. Short, wide. The ball did not bounce at all. The keeper bumbled it and it actually went down to fine leg.
A little bit surprising they didn't take on the fill to earn a bye there, but maybe just had to be a little bit conservative there considering the match situation.
Yeah, certainly no reason to take any risks. Considering how many overs are left in the game and how many runs they're behind, if they just bat normally, they should be able to get into the black without doing crazy things.
That was left alone there from Farah, so no run again.
Yes.
So Candela in, or I'm medium fast.
Oh, that's a very bad shot from Farah. Was full at about off stump and he played a wild leg glancey sort of thing, very ugly. So 5 runs off that over. So it is 9 for no loss. Okay, so McKinnon is to continue for his second over at the river end. Left arm fast medium. And left alone. Now they've decided to have 2 slip fielders, a very straight first slip, which I'm not happy with once again. It's just he's too close, and then a much more sensible second slip. McKinnon to bowl. Ooh. Interesting. He's batting the same way he did in the first inning, which is trying to play as much as he can off the back foot, not trying to commit himself to a front foot shot that might get him into an unpleasant situation, which is a good way to face the opening bowling, unless you really get pinged down with a fast in-swinging Yorker.
Exactly right. We'll talk about the first slip fielder in a moment as we see McKinnon nice and full, and this will be a leg bye. We'll see Addison come across and yes, comfortably keeping it to 1 leg bye. From a wicketkeeper's point of view there, what you want to do is be able to make sure your first slip is in a position where there's not going to be anything going in between. At the same time, then having faith that you will be able to get across there, because naturally you will start at the offside and you can all move across if there is an edge. So he can cover at least 1 metre to his right there, so if O'Connell was perhaps half a step to his right, that'd be perfect.
McKinnon to bowl. And it's up down the leg side, and short fine leg will collect it in, and there's no run there.
I know you did a little bit of first slip filling, Chukka. Were you thinking about the half a step as well to the right for O'Connell?
Me and my wicketkeeper Ken Plantagenet, we always said it was the fingertip rule. You always stand fingertips away from each other. McKinnon to bowl. I always trusted Ken that he would be able to take anything that was to his right, and I would try to occupy as much space wide as possible, which you could argue that I was too aggressive, that there was leaving too many gaps, but that's why I wanted a big wide cover slip region, slip cordon. McKinnon to bowl. Well, so glanced off the pads, fielded there by square leg, a good over there, just the one run with just the leg by, so it is 10 for no loss. So this is the fourth over of the innings. It is 1:42, so there is 18 minutes to go before the hour. Caldera into bowl.
That's well left alone. A little bit of a sucker ball, but unfortunately for Caldera's sake, it's been a little bit of a stock ball there, the one that's just a bit too short on this pitch.
Yeah, like, I don't think he's bowling his bouncers very well. He's not, the bouncers have to be, one, very fast, one, they have to bounce extra, and they have to be at the body. Caldera into bowl. The problem is that with carpet, they absorb so much of the force of the ball, which means if you just put the ball short, the pitch will absorb all of it, and it'll just sit up nicely for cutting. So you have to put extra force into it to make it actually become a dangerous delivery. Caldera's not doing that.
So Russell leaves this one alone as well. He's got the height to do it, but I think it's just probably not strong enough to get that extra pace that you speak out there to have a genuine bouncer. And even saying that, it's probably too risky anyway to do it because of the fact that Russell does play naturally off the back foot, so he is used to being in that position nice and early. So I would have thought you'd sort of put it away and try and get at least a half a yard fuller.
Caldera into bowl, and try a bit of a hippie pull shot, straight to square leg for a dot ball. Yeah, so against Russell, this is not the bowling. Russell has got a system in play where he plays the balls in a certain way, he tries to build an innings in a certain way, and unless you upset him, he's just going to do what he likes doing. So you've got to try to do something that he doesn't want.
So Caldera in. This one, pretty much a similar one to the first and third deliveries, just that a bit too short, not tempted for Russell, and goes through the keeper quite comfortably.
So either leave a big gap in the covers and ask him to drive, or bowl it at his head and have catches on the leg side to try to get a top edge or a bat pad. But don't do short from outside the off stump.
Must have literally finish off the over there, so that's a maiden over there for Caldera. 4 overs gone, it's none for 10.
Okay, so continuing to bowl is McKinnon with Farah on strike, and the fielder on the boundary is now square leg rather than mid wicket.
Not a bad option, as this one is full toss and will go over cover's head, going out towards just wide of those benches you spoke about before. That's the second boundary for Farah this afternoon.
Yep, great shot. This is the risk with McKinnon, obviously, because he's much faster. He gets up into that fast medium range, and that means, and he's much more erratic because he's trying to get the ball to swing. He doesn't hold the ball in that conservative style. He's much more trying to get the ball to swing, and that's the risk. And well defended there by Farah.
So it will be important to make sure they'll hold their nerve here. They've lost all momentum regardless of what's happened so far there, so it'll be important for McKinnon not to lose his attacking field even if they do get a few runs early on because of the vulnerability of Diamond Creek's middle order.
McKinnon into bowl. And it's a top edge over the head of the gully. It's going down to third man. The two fielders of gully and second slip are fielding it, throw it to the other fielder, and they chuck it in for 2.
Not the worst option there. Farah has shown that he can play off that front foot through the covers there, and not necessarily the quickest fielder there in the gully there. It's obviously hard to know exactly where to put certain fieldsmen there, but in gully's probably the best, but for those top ones it's always going to be 2.
Into bowl. Well defended there. It was a full at about leg stump. He shifted his bat in front of his pad and blocked it. Well blocked. So there's only 2 fielders in the covers. There's only a straight-ish mid-off and a cover point.
A little bit of a deeper cover as McKinnon for the second last ball of this over hits the pads. But there's been a theme for this match, not much appealing.
Yes. Which you know, it's the lower grades. There's no professional umpires. You know, I can understand why there's no appeals every single time that you hit the pads. But then again, when it's plumb, you still appeal.
Diamond Creek definitely didn't do during their fielding innings, as Farah again be hit the pads.
So, 6 runs off it. It's 0-4-16. So, we've had 5 overs and they're scoring about 3 runs and over. Very good start from Diamond Creek. The deficit is being eaten into. Down into the 80s now. Caldera into bowl. And again, short. He's not putting enough energy into the ball, which means it doesn't have any give. And it just kind of plops to the batsman. By the time it gets to the batsman, it's a medium pace ball, and he can just comfortably leave it alone without any concern.
Which is a little bit worrying when you're into a third over. It's really just the peak if you spell there as a fast bowler with Caldera a bit of a better length than Russell leaving it alone.
That one was better because it was a bit fuller, which meant it actually was approaching the stumps, and it seemed to skid on a bit more, which meant it actually moved to the batsman faster rather than the pitch absorbing it, and it just sort of stammering to the batsman, to the popping crease.
Well said.
And again, short of a length, left alone by Russell. Very, very smart opening batting from Russell. I can understand why he gets such good praise around the Diamond Creek circuits, because he has a very good technique, he has a very good mentality to opening the batting. He's very smart.
He's been one that's been earmarked for potential higher grades, certainly in particular the thirds.
And started to play it at the last minute. It was a bit fuller, bounced a bit less, and he decided to block it off the back foot again. So what is Caldera going to do? I mean, he's not really threatening the wickets. It's just going through the motions right now. What can he come up with? Caldera into bowl, and it's short, and Russell loses his patience and plays a wild cut but misses.
A little bit disappointed there from Russell. That's one of the things that he didn't really do in the first innings, was lose his concentration there, despite the flow wickets at the other end. That time, playing an unnecessary ball outside the off stump, that's why he's been leaving alone. It's always been the right shot so far.
So, Caldera into bowl. And left alone by Russell. That one was a bit closer to the stumps, but he kept his eye on it. So it was a maiden there. So still is 16 for no loss. So we have had 17 overs of today's play. So we're through the first quarter of the day. But with the change of innings, there will be no drinks break, unfortunately. So McKinnon into bowl. And Farah tries to play it off the hip, but he collides into his thigh pad and he just plops down for a dot ball.
Been very much just picking up on the loose ball Diamond Creek so far. We've got him on 16 after facing 38 deliveries this innings, and out of those 16, 12 have been from boundaries. So certainly just pick up the loose ones for boundaries and getting dots otherwise.
McKinnon into bowl, and it is full, and it's driven aggressively by Farah, and it's over the head of the umpire and the non-striker down to the straight boundary for 4, and the fielder has to run around and pick it up.
Not a huge lot wrong with delivery there, certainly in the right areas, McKinnon, but nicely played from Farah, hitting right through the ball there. Reminds me a lot of the batting that Nathan Bragg was doing in our opening match of the Channel 8 season there. Just hitting nice and through the ball, using a lot of the upper body strength.
Yeah, that's the sort of batting we really like to see, because it's not capitalising on bad balls, it's actually putting good balls away. And well played there off the pads for a dot ball.
And it'll give Farah some confidence there. We know he hasn't had the best summer so far. Started off in G4 and started off with a golden duck down there, and didn't make any runs in the first innings either. So he'll need the confidence there to start his summer.
I always like to see run making into bowl, and it's down the leg side. The risk is that when you've got a nice new ball, you've got the ball swinging around, you've got batsmen that are underconfident, and you just assume that things are just going to fall apart. And so I really enjoy seeing batsmen really being aggressive, hitting good boundaries, and really giving us a good run. I'm very impressed by Farah.
for the last ball, or second last ball, in fact. This one's going a long way up and a long way down towards that similar position as the other one. And that's actually cleared the cone, so that will be the first maximum of this innings.
What a shot there. Didn't break the fence, but just landed near it. So excellent shot there by Farah. Again, it was actually a good ball. It was a half volley at the stumps, and you have to take a big risk because if you mishit it, you're out. And so very well played by Farah. Oh, another one! And the fielder at mid-off can do nothing. 4 more. Great stuff. This is a Diamond Creek fight back we have been crying out for. End of the over. 14 runs off it. It is still no loss. It is 30. So, the 8th over. Caldera to bowl his 4th over. This comes into bowl. So, Caldera bowled, his first over went for 5, then a maiden, then a maiden. So, 3.1 overs, none for 5. He's been the tighter of the bowlers, but he has come nowhere near actually providing any sort of, he hasn't had any half chances or any quarter chances.
Good stuff from Diamond Creek, that's for sure. Russell defends this one, playing it from his crease despite how full it was, and just going out to gully for no run.
That's probably the most risky ball there, where it's a half volley, and instead of playing it off the front foot, you play it off the back foot. That's the most dangerous shot that Russell's technique brings about, but he has been pretty much able to keep those balls out. Caldera into bowl, and it's short and it's wide and it's a useless ball. No energy, no life, and it's just left alone comfortably by Russell.
This could be forcing O'Connor into a change there. Certainly you want to hold your nerve when you've got so much advantage in the game and it's just a little bit of a purple patch for the opposition. But the reality being when you've got Anderson and Lacey still in your books, you should be welcome to change the bowling up, as Caldera will put this in a very similar spot and Russell again letting the keeper do his work.
Yeah. So right now, obviously, Russell's at the beginning of his innings, but later on, when run making is much more on the cards for Diamond Creek, you could just late cut that to third man and just score boundaries every time.
Perhaps the fear of the we saw earlier today from Diamond Creek's bowling, as this one will be pulled.
Oh no. That is just very, very disappointing. Caldera has bowled a very bad opening spell, bringing no batsman any sort of discomfort, and then Russell has been comfortably batting and he just throws his wicket away for a very ugly shot.
Not necessarily the worst option to go for the pull shot there. The fact that it did sit up a little bit, so it did tempt it, but certainly one of the things that is different between, say, that shot and then we saw the pull shot from Lacey when he was batting earlier for lower plenty. Lacey got right on top of it, or Russell certainly seemed more flat batted. So that's why he went straight to the fieldsman there, and was certainly a catchable height there. So the first of 10 for lower plenty, they'll have to fire up a bit more to get the other 9, but they're on their way.
It was just bad decision. So the balls that were short outside the off stump had no energy on them, and they just sort of dabbled and staggered to the popping crease, and the batsman decided to leave it alone to the keeper. That is the time when you can actually get into position and actually hit the ball the way you want to, and you're actually in control of the timing because the ball's so slow. That ball was much faster. It rushed on Russell, and he actually had to play the shot without enough time, and so he wasn't able to get on top of the ball and hit it down, and instead just popped it up to square leg. So he picked the wrong ball to play at when he should have. So he played the ball. He left alone the balls he should have played at, and then he played the ball he should have left alone.
It'll be disappointing Russell there. He's been the best batsman of the match so far for Diamond Creek, with Farah certainly now challenging that mantle as we see our last batsman, Dwyer.
So Dwyer on a pair.
What are your thoughts behind sticking with the young man at 3 there? Certainly when you bat so poorly, for lack of a better term, in the first innings, you could be tempted to throw around the order, but they've stuck with the same top 3, including Dwyer, who, as you said, may have ducked in the first innings.
Caldera into bowl, left alone. Oh yeah, I'm all, oh, that's the end of the over. We'll talk about that later. So it is 1-4-30. Okay, so we have a change of bowling at the river end. It looks to be Anderson.
Well, not the best start to the summer there. 2 runs from 3 innings, averaging less than 1 unfortunately for him so far there.
Yeah, so obviously I have not seen him. I haven't even seen him at training, so I don't even know what his technique is like. And I cannot tell you how good he is at batting, but if he's been put it free, he must have something going for him, so I say stick with him.
So Will Addison is the bowler here. Looks like he's going to bowl some off spin.
Oh.
And that's a little bit of a disappointing effort there from your short fine leg there. You're really expecting that one. You can certainly sometimes feel the ones that are off the pads, but otherwise you're there for a pull shot. And that one was a reasonably safe catchable height, and a disappointing miss there from Lower Plenty.
Bad stuff there. But
Addison in once more. Farah will just play us out to mid-wicket, safely collected for no run.
so the field is slip, point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square leg, and short fine leg.
This one will be probably a couple there as falling short of mid-off, but actually hunted around there from mid-on, so he keeps it the 1. Giving Addison a chance to bowl at Dwyer.
So I like Addison's technique for most part of it, except the way he delivers the ball. I think he doesn't get his fingers on top of the ball, which is why he's bowling so many full tosses. He's needs to make sure that he pushes his fingers down onto the ball so that it lands where he wants it to.
So they've actually brought mid-wicket up to a forward square leg there for Dwyer, so sensing he won't go over the top at this point.
Again, he's actually making sure in his run-up, he's actually getting his body into the right position to bowl an off-spin ball, but then his arm and his fingers are not doing the final touches. Oh! Wow. That's what you do when you play an off spinner from the crease, is that you allow the extra spin, both off spin and top spin, to get at you, and suddenly you got you risk getting a pad, no, a glove.
The final ball of Addison's over. This one will be just play out to mid-off, and they will pinch a single there, so some good batting from Farah. So 3 runs come off that particular over. Diamond Creek 1 for 33.
Okay, so Caldera is to continue now, then he's got a wicket. He's now got the first and so far only wicket for Lower Plenty, so it's unsurprising that he's continuing to bowl. But he's bowling to Farah. And Farah leaves it alone.
So we spoke the other over about sticking with Dwyer at number 3. He's off his pair now with the run towards the end of the last over, and I think you're a fan, if I remember right about it.
Well, like I said, I haven't seen any of him bat, so I just can't say. But as a general rule, I always say, do not demote a youngster. It'll destroy his confidence. So the best thing you can do for if you know that the youngster will be able to make runs, is to just stick with him. But if you feel like he's a bit of he likes hitting the old ball around, then I would put him at 5 or 6, something safer than number 3, which is the most dangerous position.
He does bat high in the junior level as well as Caldera bowl, and that's flicked away to square leg, no run. He actually made his high score of the summer there in the under-16s, opening the batting there, so certainly he is a future top order player. It's just about getting his confidence up and getting off these low scores.
Yeah, so if he's very new to seniors, you have to get him in as early as possible so that he can feel what seniors cricket is like. Caldera into bowl. And it's leg glance down to fine leg, and the fine leg fielder will throw it in, just the 1 run there. So yeah, because there's always that thing of fearing the unknown. When you haven't done something ever before, you obviously put it on a plateau. You think, oh my god, can I ever reach this level? But then when you experience it, you say, oh, this is just more of the same. And so if you can experience senior cricket, oh, it's just other cricket, like junior cricket, but different.
Will be a test for him with Caldera getting a bit of bounce with his other deliveries.
Oh, that was not well played.
Decided very late to give the keeper more work to do by leaving it. And that's the thing I think he will get better at. That judgment between whether you leave it and whether you played it, and making that decision not too late, of course, but not too early either.
It's probably the most difficult thing to do, because you're dealing with people who are 160, 170, 180, 190 centimetres tall, rather than the 110, 120, 130. And well played off the back foot. So dealing with that extra bounce is the most difficult thing when you're going into seniors cricket. It's 1 for 34.